everyone, my name is Kadan Belay, and welcome back to Naturally Lit Podcast, where we talk about living life lit no matter what that is. It could be traveling, it could just be evolving and growing as a person, it could be taking a sober journey, it could be doing things in moderation, whatever lit means to you. For me, what lit means to me is just being my healthier, happier, better version of myself and doing it naturally. So if that's embracing more of my hair, if that's embracing more of my wardrobe, some of the flaws that I feel like I may have, or like if it's acne or whatever the case may be, it's embracing that. And there's times where I do that, and there's times where it's like, you know what? I did it for me today. So more so being naturally lit is being naturally lit for you. And what that gets into for today is our topic about being happier um, in your day-to-day life. So what I mean by that is a lot of times us as people, let me see, um, us as people, we base our happiness off of other people. I'm gonna put this right here for right now. I don't know, that looks like it's unsteady. So yeah, we base our happiness off of other people, and we can't do that. So for example, if you're single out there and you're looking to date or you want to be in a relationship and you think that right now being in a relationship would make your life so much easier, I want you to stop thinking that, because someone being there physically, emotionally, spiritually shouldn't have anything to do with how you feel internally. So for me, I've been in a relationship going on 12 years, and one thing I've learned is that if I base my mood off of Ethan, then it's going to be like this. And our moods are already up and down. So a lot of times in our relationship, we work on being the most valuable player, meaning that there's going to be times that he's going to be down and times that I'm going to be down. But what the opposite person does is try to go even harder, or if they are up, let that rub off even more as far as like the energy or the conversation, or just the presence of being more of a optimistic presence, so that the other person who is a little down can, kind of feed off of that energy. That's okay. But for me to just wake up every day and rely off of how Ethan wakes up, if I'm gonna have a good day, or how my boss is, or how my friend is, or how my coworker is, or my employees, or my kids, whatever the case may be, you have to set the example every single day. So daily habits that I've taken to make myself happier is going in and seeing what is it that I love to do, like what fulfills me. In a previous episode, I talk about how achievements fulfill me. I feel my happiest when I'm getting new achievements. It can be something as small as, working hard to, in my case, put out consistent podcasts. Seeing my numbers go up is a sense of achievement for me, because of the work that I took to put in to get there. I love doing skits. It fulfills me. It takes my mind off of whatever is going on, so I don't have to rely on drugs or other substances to fulfill what I really, or try to cope with something that I'm dealing with internally. I just dive into what I'm doing. And a lot of times I can even help with breakups as well. Like, a lot of people want to get back into relationships, but if you haven't healed, you running to another relationship is not going to help. You're going to bring subconsciously, you're going to bring your previous trauma. It could be from other relationships, or from your childhood, or just from an experience that was very traumatic to you. You carry that if you don't learn to let it go, and if you don't learn to embrace where you are now and how to be happy. So one step for me is definitely diving into what I really, really enjoy. I enjoy creating podcasts and having conversations like this. I enjoy creating skits. I enjoy going out and being in the sun. Sometimes if it's just walk in a park, or for me, I'm obsessed with bridges. I'm obsessed with like stairwells or staircases. I love like waterfalls and like, the big lakes. Like in Ohio, we have a really, really big lake. So sometimes just going out there and just letting your mind just take you wherever it wants to. When you're around something beautiful, a lot of times it's easier to take your mind off of that or just having positive, optimistic people around you. And that's all I do. So if someone's not optimistic or positive, unfortunately, you can't be around me. That goes into being happier, because it is goes into the people that you're around. It can rub off on you. So I keep my energy really close. So I guess you can add that as like number two. Keeping energy really close to you. That's not something that you personally have to do. No, I'm sorry. That's not something internally that you have to do, but that is something personally that you have to do. Is you can control the people that are around you. You can't control what happens to you. You can wake up and get some bad news, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna be happy today, and then you get bad news, and you're like, well, that just messed up my day. No, change the mindset. Like, change your perspective. Yeah, you got bad news. Yeah, depending on the news, unfortunately, it's not going to be exciting, or it's not going to be something that you may have wanted to hear or wanted to wake up to, but you can still choose if you're going to have a happy day or not. And if you do hear that, having those, which would be number three, is my positive self-talk to myself. I compliment myself often. Sometimes it's out loud, sometimes it's internally. It's letting myself know that I am healthy, I am beautiful, I am strong. Like, sometimes you have to say it out loud too. I am beautiful, I am healthy, I am strong, I am wealthy. Whatever the case may be, you have to say it out loud, because the power of the tongue is so powerful that the more you say it, the more it comes to life. And I have been manifesting some stuff out of my mouth, which is why it low-key can be scary at first. But because I know how energy works, that I'm like, you know what? I'm going to only say the things that I want to happen, because the way my life's been working, what I say out of my mouth has been happening. So I want it. And this is on good and bad. So if I say something bad, I will, or if I have a bad thought, I'm immediately trying to think of something really positive. Because unfortunately, there are times where we have thoughts in our head where we're like, wow, I'm not even that type of person. I don't even think like that. Where did this thought come from? And it could have came from something you overheard just being out in the world. It could be something that you overheard on TV, on the radio, in a song, in conversation. You just never know. And a lot of that can contribute to how you're feeling and what you're thinking. So it's very important what you're consuming and what you're around, unfortunately. So if I had kids, which, hopefully really, really soon, but if I had kids, that's why it's very mindful. That's why you have to be very mindful of what you're putting them around, because it is very, very important, because they're going to pick up on everything. Kids are extremely smart. I always had this saying that kids are extremely smart. You dumb them down by the people you put them around, meaning that everyone was probably extremely smart at some point, and then people that started, experiences that maybe started happening, and then that person being around that person, and it just led to like a chaos of like, you're not even thinking clearly right now, like what is going on. I do believe that to extents. Obviously there's certain situations and stuff that goes into play, but yeah. So I'll definitely keep my energy around me. Definitely positive talking to myself helps me be happier. Doing things that fulfill me for sure, because like, again, you can't rely on your partner. So if I want to go play basketball, or I want to go to the gym, a lot of times I just have to go do it. Just go do it. Like, get comfortable with doing things by yourself. And that's only going to help you when it comes to trying to parent. It's only going to help you when it comes to starting projects yourself, when it comes to having a partner. Work on doing things by yourself. So those are 3 tips that I have right now. Something else that I could think of that helps me really being happy is, those 3 just came to me. I'm trying to think. Something that just really makes me happy. So, and I had the new achievements. So just doing, even outside of achievements, because a lot of time people take achievement as work. Like, oh, doing the skits, doing a podcast. You're like, oh yeah, that's fun, but that's still work, especially if it's my business. Some people really, really enjoy what they do, so it's not work to them. So there's those group of people. I'm talking to you when it comes to, if you're a very goal-oriented person and it fulfills you versus stressing you out. I'm not talking about a goal person where it's like, I got a paper that's due and I know I need to get this paper done, because if I don't, I'm gonna get a bad grade and then blah, blah, blah. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about if there's something you really thoroughly love doing. I love talking and podcasting. I love doing skits and filming. I have a friend, well, my partner that does the skits with me, Jay. She always messages me often saying, hey, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to skits. I can't wait. Skits really helps me take my mind off of it. It makes me happy. I feel great when I'm doing it. And for me reaching out to her before we even started doing skits and asking her how she feel about it, she was like, yeah, that's cool. And it was all new to her. And now for it to be all new to her, it is something that she enjoys and something she looks forward to. And it's something that's a happy place for her. That makes me feel happy as well, because I also made her happy, which essentially also there are people out there that get a sense of fulfillment from making other people happy. Seeing other people smile, or knowing that I complimented someone and they're smiling. I know everyone has done this, where you're out, or maybe it's a phone call and someone says something nice to you but you didn't expect it. It could have been a compliment, or just just could have been some type of compliment, no matter if it's your outfit or your tone of voice or your hair. Someone just complimented you, and they left you with a smile. So then, like, after they compliment you, you said, oh, thank you. And you don't realize that you're smiling. Like, they literally left you smiling to the point where you probably feel yourself like, oh, I'm smiling. Or if you're watching someone if you just seen that the two people that encountered each other and you're just observing it, you're like, wow, like, you're still smiling. Because in relationships, some people be like, what are you smiling about? But it's like, no, sometimes it's so hard to smile that every little thing, if you have the opportunity to smile, just smile. And a lot of times when you are down or not feeling happy, sometimes try just smiling actually kind of gets you out of a little funk. So I guess my fourth thing would be, if I'm working on being happier, the way I feel internally helps. So what I put into my body, unfortunately, we have to go back to health. What we're eating, what we're consuming as far as food, beverages, herbs. For example, my husband, he's been taking ashwagandha, and he feels so much better with taking it. So it's like adding certain herbs helps you. And then depending on if you have ADHD or ADD, or if you have depression or anxiety, I also heard that ashwagandha is really, really good for people like that. So I'm not necessarily recommending it. I'm just saying, hey, that's something I heard. Do what you want with it, look into it, ask your providers, and kind of go from there. But yeah, like certain herbs that you're putting in, you don't understand that the dyes that's in drinks and food and all these extra gluten and hormones, it affects your body. So a lot of times eating cleaner and being more natural with what you're supposed to consume, which is the organic, that people underestimate how much that has a toll on your body and your mind. And it really, really helps you feel better when you do that. So me personally, if I'm not feeling good, I'm like, you know what? I've been drinking a lot of water lately. Speaking of, I need some right now. I've been drinking a lot of water. And sometimes, you don't always like the taste of water, so I'll put watermelon in it. Sometimes I'll do kiwi, sometimes I'll do lemon, sometimes I'll do cucumber, whatever it is. I'll spice my water up, because those are also good fruits and vegetables that you can use to put in your water, that you're getting extra nutrients and vitamins from. So I'll do that. So what I consume in my body. So if I feel like I've been a little depressed lately, or I feel like my anxiety's been a little higher, let's focus on solving the problem. Because a lot of times people will say, oh, I have depression, or oh, I have anxiety. And you may have it, yes. But because of the power of the tongue, there's things where it's like, if you just keep focused on, oh, I have this, oh, I have that, and these are pretty much all of my symptoms, but then it's like, where's the treatment? Content that I don't like consuming is like, oh, if you have this, you have that, here's all the symptoms. And it's like they just sit there and ponder on all of the downsides or the cons to it. But when do we talk about the pros and the upsides? When are we like, okay, if this is it, this is what you need to do to help with that? And there's not a one pill or one method's a better word, that works for everything. But when are we going to start talking about the solutions of what could help, or steps that we're taking that can help? So if you're watching content and you're like, yeah, you're trying to figure out if you do have depression, you're like, oh, everything they're saying just lines up. Okay, that's cool. But now what do we do? Obviously we could take the steps to go into therapy or a psychiatrist, or looking for getting medical attention. That's great as well. I definitely believe in medical attention. I'm not anti going to a traditional doctor, but I am pro going to more of a holistic route, because with holistic routes, as second opinions or first opinions, they get to the root causes of a lot of stuff. And to be happier, you have to get to the root cause, unfortunately, because you have to find what internally makes you happy. Like, a lot of people think making what makes them happy is going out to dinner, watching a good movie. Those are all activities that you can do that could add to being happy, or is an activity that you can share with other people or by yourself that could add, like, I'll just say, add to being happy. But a lot of times you can still go to a movie theater and be in your head and thinking that, oh, I'm in this movie theater, it's going to make me feel better, either about myself or about my current situation or about my life. But then you'll go to the movie theater and you're like, oh, you might enjoy it for a moment because the movie's taking you off of something. But then when you leave, you can get this sense of like a dark cloud over your head where it's like, okay, what happened? I thought going to the movies would make me happy. It's not going to make you happy. Essentially, it's almost like it's another coping mechanism. It's probably, realistically, if I was to look up some studies, it's probably no different from trying to drink or having sweets or something. A lot of times people look for extra sugar items, or going to do activities, or going to drink, or going to do whatever to try to cope with a lot of stuff. But it's like, no, we have to go internally and see what makes us happy. Me feeling better makes me happy. Me doing things where it's like, okay, I've been laying around the house, my hair's a mess, I probably have on, like, baggy clothes, I haven't even brushed my teeth yet. Like, when you get into those type of situations, a lot of times taking a shower, doing your hair, putting on something nice, it doesn't have to be too dressed up, but just putting on something presentable that's like a casual fit, that you're like, okay, if I was going to be invited to the movies right now, what is something I would wear? Or if I was to be invited, to some type of kickback or whatever, what would I wear? And or if I was going to a family member's house, or if I was going to a house party, what are some things that you would wear? Sometimes it's okay to get up and get dressed, especially if you work from home. If you work from home and you want to be productive, I'll get into that topic. I'll actually do a part 2 for that, so I'll hold on that one. Stay tuned for how to be productive if you're working from home, or if you're trying to start a business yourself, or if you're working a 9 to 5. I'll dive all into that. But yeah, so just working on things that help you internally. And unfortunately, I don't know if I can even tell you what that is. That's not even my part. All I can say for me, when I'm at my happiest, I know that I'm doing something. Typically, I'm doing something where I'm smiling. There's laughter involved. I feel good. I look good. From my standards, for what I'm okay with. Because if you focus on what you think other people's standards are, other people's standards are always changing, and your standards might even change. But where I am right now, if I'm like, oh, I like this version of me and this is what is fulfilling me at the moment, that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, for me, just doing things that make me feel good, the activities, feelings come and go. So as long as I'm happy and I'm around positive people, typically I'm happy. Sometimes it could be traveling, seeing something new. But the biggest message here is when finding your happiness is that you do have to put yourself out there. You do have to go to different places, try new hobbies. I've been trying painting lately. I'm not good at painting, and it's not really something that I enjoy doing, but I would have never really known if I didn't put myself out there to at least try it. So for me, a lot of times I typically try something at least once, unless it's something that has a negative stigma to it, like some type of drugs. Unfortunately, I don't need to try a drug to see if I like it or not. And especially if you have addictive personality, I don't even recommend even dabbling in it. Or if you come from addictive families, I wouldn't, excuse me, I wouldn't even dabble in it. So I'm gonna leave y'all with this. Hopefully this was like a short, sweet episode on how to find your happiness in a few steps. And I really, really appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I have more content coming out. And if you haven't, check out the other videos. But until next time, go be great.